really do like Elish Norn a lot in this kind of style, but without having a Unburial Rites, I can understand why someone might shy away from it. I was actually speaking to Kevin Russell earlier today as we were... No, actually, incorrect. I apologize. He looks like another player playing Esper that I was talking to, but that guy had Think Twice in his deck, and Kevin does not, so I apologize for that. And Joe Knizacky, we just saw him last round. He is still playing, fighting for his life here. He is currently the 8th seed, Kevin Russell the 10th seed. Both of these players need this win to be able to make this. Now, only one of them will make it. They cannot draw in because of the sheer volume of 21s behind them in the standings.
Well, not only that, it looks like not all of the 24s can actually draw, because it's not, like, that's going to lead to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, actually, it will be a clean cut.
Yeah.
The 24s and 27s can draw, and then there's 2 matches here who are fighting for that 7th and 8th slot.
Now, that is including Chris Renner, who we just saw in the draw with Joe Knizacky, and Brad Iyer is the other person.
And both Chris Anderson and Ari Lax representing in the top 8.
Yeah, they are a lock.
Assuming no funny business goes on. Who can tell?
To be fair, let's pretend that you're John Bond, who is our first seed, and you've got a friend who is maybe lower in the standings. You might just play just to see if you can make a miracle happen for, let's say, you're friends with Benjamin Idani.
Absolutely.
Kevin on the mull to 5. Ouch.
Trying to keep it interesting. I gotta respect a guy who's playing for top 8, goes straight to 5, because you know what? The hell with it. Let's do it. Let's make it that much more glory when we win, despite being down in cards.
And I like how you say that, when we win.
Joe playing Esper himself, but a very different blend of Esper here. We've got the Shaheen style 8 Planeswalkers that we just saw. So we're gonna
Same
see
guy.
8 Planeswalkers versus just the 2, versus a Sun Titan Phantasmal Image deck. And even though they both have Lingering Souls, their decks are actually very, very different, even in their support spells, with Joe using cards like Despise, whereas Kevin is much more, he's got more sweepers and just more O-rings, and, he's got just, he's all Sun Titan Phantasmal Image all the time.
Now, also worth noting, neither of these players have any counterspells in their 75 cards.
They're literally just going to be crashing their business against each other.
And of course, one of the things that's also worth remembering, these players do not yet have each other's deck list, so they don't actually know whether the other person has Mana Leak, Dissipate, things like that.
Yep. And and that's part of why I love playing like 1 or 2 Mana Leaks in a deck like this, just so they don't know. Because you know what? The hell with them.
Think twice. And actually, Think Twice here, really, one of the rare moments that's going to shine is in a matchup like this. Well, in this day and age, right now, where the grindiness actually is real. 4 Forbidden Alchemies is going to do a lot more in that grindy atmosphere between these two.
I don't know that this matchup's going to turn out to be that grindy, because both of them have just a bunch of threats. I think they're both just going to try trumping each other, and that even the person, I don't think the card advantage is going to really matter that much. It's nice to Think Twice helps him with his land. Exactly. I think it's literally just going to be who plays the best bombs.
If that's the case, I think that we might be looking at the 3 Pond or 4 Forbidden Alchemy as being the real keys of this match for Kevin Russell.
Now, what's going to be really helpful is if he can get some of those O-rings into the graveyard, so that when he starts chaining Sun Titan back, he also gets an O-ring at the end of it, so that he can take out a Planeswalker, so that then Joe has to end with down a Planeswalker, and even if he uses a sweeper, he's down. He got 1/8/7,
Right. I actually think if we get to the sideboard, that the sideboard for Joe is much more effective. He's got 1 Praetor's Grasp, Karn Liberated, and Volition Reigns, as opposed to Karn Liberated. There do exist...
and what about Memoricide?
Yeah, and the Memoricide...
If you use Memoricide and naming Sun Titan?
I don't think that Kevin can do anything. That would leave him with only Gideon and Karn to win after sideboard for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's going to be super effective. So, Forbidden Alchemy from Kevin Russell on Plains Island. And that's the unhinged island I was talking about.
Ah, okay. I thought you were thinking of... Unglued is the one I was thinking of.
No, I'm not talking Unglued. I'm talking Unhinged. Island, Plains, Drowned Catacombs.
I can't remember what the Unglued Island looks like.
You'll remember as soon as you see it, of course. It's got a weird border.
I know
It's got
I know the
tap
border.
symbol, giant tap symbol.
That's it. I remember the border. I couldn't remember the art. So, okay.
Yeah, Unhinged Island is actually my favorite artwork in all of Magic. I love that card.
Wow, that's bold. And on the table, Lingering Souls faces off against 4 mana from Kevin Russell. One of it's waiting to become a mana. Despise. Will it hit a Sun Titan?
It's interesting. Kind of think...
Whiff?
Yeah, he whiffs. Kind of think he's supposed to wait a turn, but maybe he was thinking, oh, I want to get it down the turn that he could play a Gideon or a Jace or whatever.
Right, right.
And that's reasonable.
I mean, he does not know that his opponent's build is a Sun Titan build.
Right.
And so, I mean, if he's facing a true mirror, then he has to worry about Gideon and Tamiyo. So I can accept that.
Yep. And now he's got the info. Definitely a matchup, though, where Mana Leak would be better.
And we see a 5th mana from Joe. Joe, I think, in this game 1, is going to get the most value out of the Tamiyo because of its potential to go ultimate in this match. The Consecrated Sphinx is open to instant speed removal. The Gideon is not really going to be very effective as a, hey, come attack me. So it also becomes vulnerable to instant speed removal. I think it's going to be game 1 a lot about his Tamiyo.
Now, it should be noted that Russell only has 3 Go for the Throats. It's very easy for him to just not have an answer to Consecrated Sphinx.
Not have an instant answer, but then after that he has other answers. But that does give a plus advantage in carded white to the Consecrated Sphinx player. And we see Lingering Souls flashback. 4 spirits to 2.
So Kevin Russell with 5 mana, 4 spirits,
And
facing down
spirits
Joe's
kill
5 mana
spirits.
and 2 spirits.
And 2 more coming back from a flashback, and then perhaps another one as well on top of it. Yep. Now it's the reverse, 4 to 2 for Joe with spirits.
Consecrated Sphinx would be glorious right here.
Now remember, Kevin Russell on the left is the one with the Sun Titans, and on the right, Joe Knizacky, the Walkers and 2 Consecrated Sphinx.
Is there any greater feeling than drawing extra cards?
It feels so good to have a Sphinx happen. And then if your opponent brainstorms or ponders or anything like that.
Yeah, you're not really looking to brainstorm when your opponent has a Consecrated Sphinx. That is
I've seen it under the camera actually not many times with brainstorm. Usually it's ponder, which is still fine.
Absolutely. So Joe, 4 spirits, continuing to advance the board. Both players with 6 mana.
Kevin, 2 cards in hand, maybe a little bit more. Oh, he did triple mulligan or double mulligan? Double mulligan. We see the blocks here. Back down to 2 spirits on Joe's side of the board, like we saw just a few turns ago. And Gideon Jura in Joe's hand. There's the Gideon. It's going to pop up to 8. Terminus in Joe's hand. I think I saw at least 2 lands in Joe's hand as well.
Yeah, because remember, this matchup is the type of matchup where even if Joe's up 2 cards, if he just has 2 extra land, doesn't matter. Whoever plays the biggest and last trump wins. That said, he is the guy who's up a Lingering Souls and a Gideon at the moment. I definitely like Joe's chances. 8 Planeswalkers, big advantage game 1 just on the double mulligan. Plus, as you said, he's got the right sideboard for this particular matchup. Now that said, Kevin does have a few Drown Yards.
I don't think that matters when there's not counterspells in the mix.
No?
Yeah,
I mean, the decks are just too fast?
I've talked with Shaheen about this.
Yeah.
And Shaheen and I both agree that Karn is the end-all be-all, and Karn laughs at Drown Yard. Basically what it boils down to is, since it's not a counterspell matchup, you just end up being way too slow to kill them with a Drown Yard.
Oh, and you just keep bashing, bombs against each other.
Yeah.
And see who is the most power.
Yeah.
And since Karn is the most powerful thing you can do until Nicol Bolas gets back.
Yes. It's exactly the reason.
Dude, I can't wait.
I love Nicol Bolas. Oh, so good.
There is always a greater power.
I mean, I liked Nicol Bolas back when you had to have it be a creature.
Yes.
Was Chris Pakula the one that used that at, I believe, Pro Tour Dallas?
No. Chris Pakula definitely was not playing Nicol Bolas. Chris Pakula top-8'd Dallas with Necro.
Oh,
Black-red Necro.
But who was... Somebody at one of those early events had like a...
Shallow Grave Nicol Bolas deck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Chris. But
okay.
That deck was there. It was sweet.
I think maybe Chris just talked about it.
Yeah.
I think perhaps someone hit him with the Nicole Bolas, and he was like,
Probably.
okay, well, that sucked. Draw 7.
Yep. So one of those.
Holy Pakula moments.
Yeah. So you lost? Well, no.
No.
Next turn I just played Necro and drew 7 cards. But.
Curse of Death's hold.
Curse of Death's hold. Giving him an advantage in the Lingering Souls matchup.
And now here, one of the key cards for this matchup, the Forbidden Alchemy being flashed back from the graveyard.
Absolutely. Having access to 4 alchemies goes a very, very long way because each one of these alchemies is just so likely to hit some big, big business.
Sun Titan in hand, end of turn, Phantasmal Image in the yard.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to see the beginning of some naughtiness here. But Joe, I believe, has a Terminus and a Day of Judgment in his hand, though.
Right, but the key here is that Sun Titan is going to let him also get back an Oblivion Ring or a Nile Spellbomb. So it's like he's ahead by 1, you know? Definitely a very reasonable spot. Now, he's got to respect Mana Leak, but he might just go for it, and hopefully he does, you know? Like, even if your opponent has Mana Leak, sometimes you got to ask yourself, how much am I gaining by just hanging out?
I mean, there is a small clock on him, and wow, goes for the slow roll.
Yep, decides he wants to. He's like, okay, I'll play around Mana Leak.
And the thing is, there is enough variance in these Esper decks that you can't just be like, oh, Esper, it's like Shaheen's deck. There are way too many versions out there.
We've seen like 4 different versions today. Joe, 8 mana.
Flashes a Lingering Souls.
His second Lingering Souls continues to mount the pressure. He's got Consecrated Sphinx in hand.
Another
he's
Alchemy.
He's also respecting Mana Leak.
Yeah. Another Alchemy.
This is fantastic for Kevin. This is exactly what he wants to be doing. Continuing to just stockpile more threats. Forbidden Alchemy is just so much more effective than Think Twice in terms of compiling threats in your hand, you know?
Yeah. Land, Gideon go to yard for Kevin Russell.
So whatever it is, better than a Gideon.
Land? Is he just building up land so he can have a Mana Leak safe Sun Titan?
No. He's just playing into it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think last turn he just wanted to be mana efficient.
Okay.
Because you know what? Who doesn't?
Sometimes mana efficiency, though it's a good general rule, is not necessarily as good as power.
It's interesting because this sort of represents Mana Leak here. You know?
Yeah, it does.
Like, he might just correctly read that Joe doesn't have Mana Leak, but he's still representing Mana Leak even though he doesn't have it.
And I mean, one way that he can accentuate that representation is that neatly piled 2 land that look like they're just ready.
Now, the interesting thing is that if Joe doesn't have another land, Joe might not want to play that Terminus because he fears Mana Leak. He might just want to play the Day of Judgment. Now, it doesn't really matter that much, but it does mean that the Phantasmal Images go to the graveyard instead of the bottom of the deck, which makes the next Sun Titan that much more effective.
We see the Nile Spellbomb as the end of the Sun Titan chain. Image, Nile Spellbomb. We check to see for the miracle. No miracle.
I think, actually, if I'm Kevin, I only get back 1 image here. Because I think you'd rather keep the other one in the graveyard. There's too many good things. Like, if you somehow just get to take a turn without a sweeper, you're already in such a good shape. Why do you need to be so greedy and put all your eggs in one basket? But then again, I guess that's only Terminus. And it's possible Joe has 2 Doomblades, so it might just be better to just play both images and say the hell with it.
And Joe just says Terminus.
Alright.
Now, if I'm Kevin Russell, one of the things I definitely would want to do is at least do a fake think for a moment, and the length of it be as long as I feel like is appropriate to my opponent.
What are you trying to represent?
Just that I'm contemplating whether I want to do a fight here over it. You know, that maybe even if I don't have it in my hand, that I have to check to see if I have it in my hand. Like, even like the check for the Mana Leak.
So I think you actually, the play is to represent strength. Don't tank, don't think about it, just be like, yeah. Obviously I knew you were going to Terminus. That's what I wanted you to do.
Well, I mean, it really obviously depends on these two at the table, how they're interacting with each other, what you think you
I hope it involves, like, knives. Like, they're interacting it with, like, with each other, like that Michael Jackson music video where they're, like, tied together at the hand and having a knife fight. That's sort of what I imagine when I see these two duking it out for this top 8 spot.
Here's another Sun Titan.
Absolutely.
A little bit less effective than the first one.
Yeah, because he got both back images, but Nile Spellbomb comes back, and it looks like he's going to tell Joe to beat it.
Nice.
Ponder. What's coming next? If anything else, this is one of those times where it's actually just really nice to shuffle.
Shuffle
so you can get those
3 valuable cards back from the bottom.
Yeah. Now, Phantasmal Image, not at his best in this matchup, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin shaves a little bit on that in the numbers.
I actually still like it just because...
You like 4?
Not 4.
Yeah, so just shave
3
a little
or
bit.
2, but
Right.
probably leaning towards 3, just so that you can have the bring back powers. I mean, it's just so potent. But yeah, 4 is probably too many. I wouldn't want it in my opening hand.
So Joe falling further and further behind.
Now remember, Kevin Russell did double mulligan this game.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter because this is not a matchup that is about card advantage. This is about who plays the
Liliana.
last and biggest bomb. So Liliana trumping Sun Titan.
One thing I would say is it's not only about card advantage, but that card advantage supplies bombs. And we see 5 mana here. Gideon. He's like, does that work? Yep. And Sun Titan number 3 in Kevin's hand. Is that what I see? And we see this Nihil Spellbomb once again being used to draw a card. Oblivion Ring in hand. Perhaps a land in hand. Sun Titan number 3 in hand.
You know, Sun Titan versus Gideon is a pretty classic dance.
Is that Sun Titan number 4 in hand?
No, I think it's O-Ring, Day of Judgment, Sun Titan, Go for the Throat, and Ratchet Bomb.
There's another white spell in his hand, I think.
Day of Judgment?
Besides
or
that.
O-Ring?
Oh, I thought you said... Never mind. My brain at this late hour of Magic, 10 rounds in, has gotten tired.
Sun Titan bringing back Nihil Spellbomb. Continuing to draw more
Sun
cards.
Titan fights against Gideon incredibly well.
As does O-Ring.
The second O-Ring from Kevin Russell.
All this from a double mulligan.
Joe Knizacky wondering where his Paracelines are. Draw. Consecrated Sphinx has been in his hand for a while. Maybe now is the time to consider putting it down?
Unfortunately, at this point, Kevin has a Go for the Throat.
Yeah.
Desperate times.
5 mana though.
Tamio.
Tamio. That's actually better by far. There we go.
Margin.
Liliana. He ratchets it up. Getting rid of something. Ratchet Bomb goes away from Kevin Russell. I cannot see what Joe discarded to that. I believe he's probably kept his Sphinx though.
Yep. Interesting. Kevin having the discipline to keep Go for the Throat. God, I love that island.
Tragic Slip, the card that Joe Knizacky discards.
If you believe you have made the top 8,
I've seen more tragic.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan. I'm here in the booth with...
Patrick Chapin.
That is the Patrick Chapin. It is round 10 of the Swiss. 431 players are being whittled down to a top 8. One of these 2 players will be among them. Well,
like a
so
cage
long as
match.
they don't draw.
2 enter, only 1 can leave. It's like a post-apocalyptic desert wasteland where people are driving around in dune buggies and fighting over gasoline.
Where is the feral boy?
Absolutely. That's a question I hope to ask myself.
Consecrated Sphinx, think twice, and Tamio holds down the Sun Titan.
Walk away from the mana source. Just walk away.
Oh, Lord.
For you kids at home, Google Mad Max. For everybody actually watching the match as we speak, Sun Titan is getting owned by the Liliana Tamio combo. We're seeing a match that keeps going back and forth, back and forth. Now, does Kevin have one more alchemy?
I cannot tell.
I can't think that he does, or he'd just do it, right?
We see a think twice from Joe, and now Joe has a swamp in his hand. And that think twice was cast from the graveyard after being discarded to the Liliana.
It's like he picked up our extrasensory vibes. Here comes the Forbidden Alchemy. He needs yet another trump.
And I cannot tell what he got, but we will find out shortly, I'm
bet
sure.
it's good. He snapped took it, so it's probably good or it's not. Either way, the game progresses.
So much mana here.
Man, can you imagine if you had like a Grizzlebrand? Rah!
And in hand, Sun Titan, Day of Judgment, Ratchet Bomb, Go for the Throat, Phantasmal Image.
God, these decks have so many bad cards in them for this mirror, but so many cards that are just backbreaking, and it's interesting. It's literally just, the cards that are relevant are so much better, but I got a feeling that after sideboard, the match is going to take on such a different texture.
At this point in the game, if I'm Joe Knizacky, enough of my opponent's deck has been flipped into the yard, I would almost certainly stop playing around counterspells at all.
Oh, for sure.
And that would be probably for the entire match.
Well, you can never tell. The tough thing is that some of these decks that don't main deck them,
sideboard with some dissipates, you negates.
One negate, one dissipate, and the rest, well, just here to regulate. What I'm wondering is, when is Joe eventually going to pull the trigger on that Consecrated Sphinx?
I bet you... Oh, look at this. Ratchet Bomb also on the table. And I think we have gotten to the moment... I believe Joe has a Day of Judgment in his hand, where we're going to see that be the answer.
First,
Swamp.
Discard to Liliana, right?
Swamp in hand. I don't think I see a day. Maybe it was discarded to Liliana earlier. Maybe he didn't have one. It was just the Terminus that I saw.
I thought Kevin had the Day of Judgment.
Yeah, Kevin also has a day, but I thought I saw one in Joe's, but maybe I just missaw that white card, and maybe it was the Terminus from earlier. Despise?
Yeah, his Swamp, Despise, and Consecrated Sphinx.
What you got in your hand there? Anything left?
What you got in that bag?
Another bomb, a Go for the Throat, a Day of Judgment.
See, it's sad. I think he needed to just, well, at least now he knows, and knowing is half the battle. The other half is not getting beaten down by 18 power of Sun Titans, or 15 power.
Now, Liliana, not that effective as an Edict here, as only the Phantasmal Image would be hit. However, Tamiyo could hit...
Yeah, exactly.
I got to go there. Tamiyo can kill the Phantasmal Image, and then the Edict can take out one of the real Sun Titans. But that does mean that Sun Titan will be able to do a lot of damage to one of those Planeswalkers, killing Liliana, and I believe that Tamiyo has not been affected yet this turn. Oh, no. Goes the other way.
No.
That's the backwards way.
No.
That could have been better.
No, I'm melting.
The order of operations does have an influence on how games end. Now, if you remember, Joe Knizacky, he was the player that you thought definitely should have been activating his Tamiyo to draw cards a little bit more often in our last game.
God, don't you like drawing cards? I don't know. So, Kevin makes his way to his draw phase, a grip full of sweet, sweet action.
Another Ratchet Bomb in, and a
image.
new one, and a Nile Spellbomb, which represents more card drawing. And Tamiyo down to one. The -1/-1 on the curse makes Tamiyo down to 2.
God, if you would have done it the other way.
If he would have done it the other way, we would be seeing only a single Sun Titan in play right now, instead of 3.
Well, no, 2, because he'd get back the image again.
Oh, fair enough. He would get back the image.
But
2 is better than 3.
2 is 2 out of 3, and that ain't bad.
From Joe's perspective. And Joe is looking for a miracle.
I need a miracle.
Welcome to the 1980s here. I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Patrick Chapin, with references to 80s songs and 80s movies all weekend.
Dude, it's been a long day. At this point, I feel like we're literally just stepping out of the DeLorean as we speak.
I'm not sure if our boss here, Jesse, wants us to make an ack reference now or not.
No. He was referencing, my reference was from circa the mid-90s.
Oh, which one? I missed that one.
The 2 out of 3, and that ain't bad, regarding bodies of
Oh, yeah.
All you kids at home doing the trivia challenge that will be available after never.
Now, Patrick Chapin is a little-known fact. a amateur movie reviewer and enjoyer.
I'm an amateur movie reviewer and enjoyer?
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not even true, dude. I totally get paid to enjoy movies.
Excellent. High five to that. Tamio at 2, Liliana at 2, facing down 15 power thanks to a curse. 15 power worth of planeswalkers. Joe knows that there is a Doomblade in Kevin's hand.
And if you just had one less Sun Titan, tap the image again, edict you again, business, deli, taste it.
Are we going to see the play now? Draw 1 card.
That's how you know times are tough.
What did he find? A land? Another land?
Yeah.
Go. Did Lily not do any discarding?
Lily did nothing.
That's sad.
He's given up.
I mean, if he's given up, just scoop it up and go to the next game. I mean, how much time is left? You've got to win 3 games if you lose the first one. Or win in 3 games, pardon. 15 damage coming on in.
I'm assuming the one's going after Liliana.
Yep. 15 damage is still coming on in.
Yeah.
And we see land starting to be recovered by Kevin Russell.
Kevin Russell, building up to Emrakul.
Joe, amusingly, still has actually a lot of things he can draw to make this game not be over. Terminus would be just absolutely huge in this moment.
And he definitely has a lot of both Terminuses, as well as ways to draw into them, like Alchemy.
And Day of Judgment
Think
would
twice.
just solve the problems of this moment.
Now, what are those Ratchet Bombs doing here?
They're going to try to free up, I think, that Curse of Death's hold.
Doesn't one of them want to stay at 0 just to get rid of the chump blockers?
That's probably fair.
But I don't know.
Are they both being marked at 1?
Looks like it, but who can tell?
Lingering Souls.
That's weird. How could anybody have seen that coming?
And another Lingering Souls is available to be cast before that Nile Spellbomb can be used on it. Remember, you still have priority at the beginning of an empty stack. Okay, 4 spirits.
1, 2, 3, 4. But all this really does is serve as a glorified fog.
Okay, he
Oh,
does
no.
have it
Okay.
at 0. Okay.
All right.
That wasn't representing both of them.
So after 187 minutes, we move on to game 2. Coming in out of Joe's deck, well, he may have lost game 1. Sideboarding definitely seems like it gives him a lot of great options. He has Memoricide, which hitting a Sun Titan is devastating. He's got 3 of them, too. He also has Karn Liberated to go over the top. He has Batterskull as another angle of attack. Volition Reigns, which he doesn't know just how effective Volition Reigns will be, but it's still probably going to be good enough.
In this matchup, it is gold.
Right. And then it's possible he might even want Revoke Existence, particularly hitting O-Ring.
Revoke is not terrible. I mean, it's completely manage to answer one of the answers that Kevin could put down.
And even Praetor's Grasp. The games go
it's
slow.
not even even. It
Yeah.
is definitely Praetor's Grasp. Praetor's Grasp, one of the key things that this deck brings in against these other control decks. Why? Because at the top end, there are so few cards that matter that usually if you Praetor's Grasp, there might be only 1 Karn in your opponent's deck. And lo and behold, only 1 Karn in Kevin Russell's deck.
Absolutely. Plus, he's got tons of cards to board out. Go for the Throat, and Doomblade, and Tragic Slip, and Mortar Pot. Now, he might need to keep some of that business, because you got to kill a Sun Titan somehow. But he doesn't need 5 Day of Judgment Terminus types. And it's not even clear which Planeswalkers are at their best here. I think Gideon's got to go.
I mean, one of the problems with getting rid of Gideon is it does make their Gideon more powerful.
But you know what? Can't win them all. On the other side, though, Russell has coming in not a lot.
1 Karn.
1 Karn.
Nihil Spellbomb wouldn't be
No, Nihil
terrible.
Spellbomb were good.
Yeah, like
It's kind of a
Celestial Purge can be an answer to Liliana and Sorin.
Nihil Spellbomb spelled with a P.
Niffle, Niffle Spellbomb.
Nephalia Drownyard. I got to imagine that that's at least part of his plan. Not
it's
saying
mana.
that it's, not saying that it's that insane.
It's mana.
But you got to do something, and if you're playing with it in the first place, this is a totally reasonable place for it.
Now, only 19 minutes remain after that epic 31-minute game 1.
Absolutely. Is it possible that Kevin just adopts a controlling turtle up mode?
I think there's nothing wrong with that. Of course,
Well, it's much harder on the lower side.
The problem is this. If you draw, you're double drawing both of you out. It's... Pretend Joe takes out, wins the game, then there's definitely little opportunity for either of them to win the match.
Have one of those old-fashioned Motown showdowns. So, would you like to concede?
Well, I mean, as one of these players is not OSIP, the OSIP always being one of those people that likes to take things honorably. Do you know the OSIP story with this?
No, but I can conjecture. I mean, OSIP's a very honorable dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of his opponents was like, well, I'm not going to concede to you. And so OSIP was like, well, I guess I'm going to concede. And the guy's like, yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's someone that sticks by their principles. Like, I don't know if I would have, after the person was kind of like that, I don't know that I would stick to those principles in that case. But OSIP going with it. Patrick Chapin is here with me. I'm Adrian Sullivan. Also with us, Glenn Jones running around the room, Ricky Hayashi, a whole bunch of the Star City Games crew, Jesse Snyder.
Dude, Matt Marr got me that way once.
Yeah.
Had the win, was a turn away. He wouldn't concede, so I did. But you know what? It works out.
I mean, if you're the person that concedes, I think it works out over time. And, that kid, whoever it was that OSIP played, I wonder if I know his name.
So Joe, going to be on the play with his Esper Walker deck. He's looking a lot better after sideboarding. But game 1 definitely was not the way he wanted it, considering, I mean, he's also got to be slightly demoralized because Kevin double mulliganed that game.
That has to feel so terrible. And I mean, Joe's draw was not terribly bad.
No.
He had all kinds of stuff. He had the Lingering Souls. He had, some card advantage from Think Twice. He had a Forbidden Alchemy. He got out some Planeswalkers.
But definitely Forbidden Alchemy showing just how much better it is than Think Twice in this matchup. Plus the fact that Kevin has Ponder, where Joe does not.
Another thing to remember, Joe cast Despise twice, whiffing both times. In a sense, giving himself some information, but equalizing that mulligan out.
Absolutely. Kevin Russell continuing to advance the board with the best basic land in Magic. Unhinged, not Plains, but...
I was going to say, that's some Plains.
Yeah. But it's from Unhinged, so you know it's good. Dude, I can't even imagine what they're going to do, because the Unglued land was pretty hot, and the Unhinged land, Berserker off the charts. So what are they going to do when they do the third unset to complete the trilogy?
Does it have an actual technical name yet?
I think Rosewater always jokes about it, like, what is it, like Unleashed or something? I forget what it is.
Unleashed, unsettled, unbecoming.
Joe, Swamp and Plains. At this point, the facade has been dropped about counter magic.
This is true. Kevin Russell here on the draw casts the first spell that does anything to the board in the game, Lingering Souls.
Now it's really interesting, this division between their decks, that Kevin doesn't have access to Curse of Deathhold, whereas Joe has 3.
And Joe passes the turn with a 4th land. 4 lands here from Kevin. Kevin with 2 blue, 2 black, 2 white. Joe with 2 black, 3 white, 1 blue.
For those of you just listening, they each have 4 mana.
This is true.
The Joe's up to 5 now, but
yep.
These dual lands making the mana tricky, but both
see
players have
Gideon
access to
Jura?
basically whatever they want. Joe doesn't have double blue yet, but you know what? Who cares?
And he goes +2 on it. I actually would have liked to have used the murdering ability of Gideon there.
Just to advance the board?
Yeah, in case something happens, like an Oblivion Ring or anything like that. You're not going to be able to use
Agree.
Gideon on Sun Titan.
Agree.
Gideon needs help to kill a Sun Titan.
Now, the Gideon isn't even good, so at least do something with it. Man. God, I would have loved to have killed a flyer there.
There's the O-ring. Well, at least Gideon sucked up an O-ring.
You know, and that's like the best you could hope for, I think, honestly. We're going to see flashback on Lingering Souls, continuing to advance the board. Unlike the brief period of time on Magic Online where a dead Gideon means that you can't attack at all.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, there was a period of time where it was bugged for a bit where you had to attack the Gideon that wasn't there.
Revoke.
Gideon comes back. Now imagine if you could just kill one more token.
I know there would be only 2 spirits out there. Instead, Gideon is going to be at 8 and go down to 4. There is a Day of Judgment in Joe's hand. Does he want to expend it?
Hell yeah. No!
Says go.
I guess he wants to save it for the Sun Titan.
I don't have a problem with that.
And if you did, I think you'd solve it. Oblivion Ring number 2. Joe says, nothing to do. Kevin Russell says, I'm attacking you. Joe says, not
now
once,
the shoe?
but think 2.
I was wondering where you're going to go for that one there.
Oh, you see how easy it is to do?
You stop that now, I mean it.
I'm sure you do. Nah, like, being a rapper is, it's great. Joe, on the other hand, says, now, the Day of Judgment, it's time to get it on. Kevin scoops up his souls and is ready to party, whether it's Gideon or Sun Titan. Kevin looks like he has a full grip of sweet, sticky sweet action. Joe, no idea what he has, but the fact that his 3 face-down cards are face-down makes me think he doesn't have as many threats as Kevin Russell's grip full of killers.
Gideon v. Gideon?
Well,
no.
This is uncontested and unmolested. Gideon has a clear path. Vulnerable to go for the Throat or Doomblade, but go for the Throat and Doomblade. I mean, you might not even have them.
Alchemy.
Whew, this is absolutely a fantastic play.
What do we got
Alchemy
here?
will give him something good and something to do later.
Karn. Now what Karn can do is Karn can either just kill that Gideon, or it can, just kill the Gideon.
Just kill the
fine.
Gideon,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's as big a trump as they come. Remember, Kevin's still short on mana.
Boom.
And that
Big
might be the game.
robots.
Particularly since Kevin's lost, Kevin already used both O-rings. Kind of makes you think maybe he should have killed the Gideon with the Gideon instead of using an O-ring to do the thing. Karn is going to be real tough to beat from this position. He needs to draw land in a hurry so that he can get some Sun Titan action going on.
Is that a land? Oh,
And it comes into play tapped.
Lingering Souls.
Now this isn't bad. At least it gives him a board. At least he has something, you know? Now the problem is that Karn gains loyalty so fast, the Lingering Souls can't even make it progress.
And let's hit your hand. But first, revoke.
Oof.
Oh, Gideon is back.
And I think Joe's going to tie it up. I wonder how much time they have left in the round, because this game's all but over.
8 minutes in the round.
Wow, and if they draw, they're both out.
That's for a little bit of drama here.
Dun 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 dun.
And go for the throat is removed by the Karn. Karn liberated Gideon Jura.
Now we're going to see Soren.
And are we going to see? Yep, I think we are.
Because why not?
I mean, and Joe needs to realize how the time matters here. Make the decision, move on, go on.
Yes.
That ponderous tapping of the mana,
Soren
not
makes
appropriate
a
in this moment.
vampire. All right, what's Kevin got to do to turn this around? Because he's
Sun Titan.
Yeah, but what's Sun Titan even going to do? There
He's his own Karn.
Okay.
He's got his own Karn.
Yeah, that's something. That's step 1 is to get out from underneath the Karn.
Yeah. Karn v. Karn. That's the only Karn in both of these decks. And it's to the next. Go, he says.
So that's one problem down, but now he's still facing a Soren and a Gideon. Plus, Joe can flashback Alchemy to send another wave. This is looking real bad for Kevin. Not as bad as it was a minute ago, because the Karn's off the table, but the tough thing is that it's going to take Joe a couple more minutes to win this game.
Absolutely.
And it's not even a done deal.
In for one. Another vampire. Two vampires versus 4 spirits. And I thought there was only one card on the board.
Yep.
He was looking at his graveyard. Okay. I saw the card in hand, and Sun Titan. Does this work?
What's he getting back? Nothing good.
For Joe.
Nile Spellbomb. I've seen worse.
Let me see your graveyard, because that will just take a little bit more time here. And we're going to see an end of turn Forbidden Alchemy from Joe here.
You're darn right we will.
Crack. And Kevin with no responses.
Nah, see, I think the play, you go Alchemy in response Evolving Wild. Otherwise, Kevin could just get him and be like, Nile Spellbomb you now. Make you Alchemy with one more land in your deck. Oh, taste it, maximum value.
And there we see the Alchemy. And look at the rearrangement, rearrange. Lingering Souls. Was that a day?
And now we see the Kevin not being a maniac and doing the play I suggest paying off, since he has the Nile Spellbomb for after the Alchemy resolves. Joe, untapping, goes about his turn. What's he got to do to keep advancing? At this point, he probably just wants to find an answer to the Sun Titan. A day would be devastating. It would be... Wow.
I mean, I think and then he's going to attack with the Gideon to try to, with a tapped out opponent, get into 6 damage.
Sending Gideon into the red zone.
A tapped out opponent makes the Gideon safe. A vampire after combat. And we've got Sorin now at 6, fully capable of stealing a Sun Titan.
So I think if I'm Joe there, I think twice in my main phase. See if I draw Liliana or something.
And the Sun Titan does come into play, which means I expect that Joe is going to just steal it. And we're going to think twice here at the end of turn. Think.
And again.
Think. Untap. There's some a very short amount of time here. We see another Gideon in Joe's hand, a Doomblade.
And they have an 8-minute extension, it sounds like.
Ah, okay, so they have an extension, which means that they're still down to probably around 12 minutes-ish right now. About exactly 12.
Trader's Grasp. What do you think he's going to get at this point?
At this point, a Sun Titan, maybe? The top end of Kevin's deck is Sun Titan now that the Karn is already in the yard.
Now he only has one O-ring left in the deck. But that probably doesn't matter, because Sun Titan could just get one back, right?
It looks like Joe is looking at the Kevin's graveyard. Maybe he'll get a Nile Spellbomb.
I thought so. He's going to get the O-ring.
Okay.
Because both O-rings are already gone. He doesn't have access to another O-ring, and this way he's taking Kevin's best out of his deck. Kevin now has no answers to Planeswalkers outright, whereas Joe has an answer to anything Kevin does.
In comes Gideon and one vampire. I think we're going to see a drawn game. Now, if you're Joe, you got to remember...
A drawn game? Or a drawn match?
Drawn match, pardon me. I think you got to remember, time is of the essence here. Just be crisp. I understand that you want to play perfectly, but it's better to play a little bit bad than get a draw.
Nile Spellbomb hits Joe again. Kevin looking to, well, I mean, I guess
there's a ponder.
Yeah, he's gonna need a lot of action, like Lingering Souls or something, because he needs to not die to Gideon on this crackback.
If it's not there, just scoop it up and try to get to a game 3. Well, I mean, obviously shuffle first. So, what has he got?
He decides to keep. It's probably Lingering Souls.
Sun Titan. And that'll be all she wrote. Joe can kill him right now on the table.
Yeah, that seems unnecessarily maniacal.
And death. Let's get to the next game, boys. We have 10 minutes left, I believe. 10 minutes left for these two players to finish their match.
This is where it's really important to shuffle very quickly.
Now, both of these players are incentivized to be fast. A draw is the equivalent of a loss for both of them.
Absolutely.
A little bit of jovial talk between the two while they shuffle up. Going to game 3, we're going to probably see Kevin here basically doing the exact same plan. He's got his top end at Karn, has his Lingering Souls, has his O-Rings and his Ratchet Bombs. I mean, being on the play means, especially in a matchup where there is no counter magic, the possibility of a Karn coming down first. And Joe has only one Oblivion Ring and his own Karn to handle it. Though I suppose you could also say a Praetor's Grasp for his opponent's Oblivion Ring to handle it.
Absolutely, and Volition Reigns.
Oh yes, Volition Reigns is very, very
Super
good.
sweet trump in this matchup.
God. When actually in the deciding game between Shaheen and me, I dropped a Karn, he Volition Reigned it, and then I Volition Reigned my Karn back. And, like, so epic. Just the way that match played out.
What happens if you Volition Reigns his Volition Reigns instead of his Karn? Or instead of the Karn?
I'm not sure. I think
because now you control the controlling.
Yeah, I think that works the same way.
Is that better or worse?
I am tired from a long day, and I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Can we get a roll? If you're on Twitter and you're following us at SCG Live, hashtag SCGDET, if you could tweet back to us the correct strategic decision of whether or not you're supposed to Volition Reigns your opponent's Karn that he stole from you with his Volition Reigns, or if you're supposed to Volition Reigns his Volition Reigns that's on your Karn because he stole it from you. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
That's at SCG Live, hashtag SCGDET. Where are we at?
Detroit.
Okay, Evolving Wilds from Kevin Russell. Joe with Evolving Wilds. Look at this.
That is time in the round.
Now remember, these two players have an 8-minute extension. And I think
do the mutual Evolving Wild search.
It looked like he was about to, and now he's doing it at the end of turn proper. I think I would just forgo it and just do it. With time being such a premium, I would just try to save that little bit here and there.
Particularly since Joe has such a great sideboard against Kevin.
And there we have another Evolving Wilds. He cracks it. There
that's
we go.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
And we see Lingering Souls from Kevin Russell.
Is anybody who's played? Wow, they're moving at a frenetic pace. At this
I like
point.
this stuff. This is how it should be going.
As anybody who's played the Callblade Mirror knows, sometimes you just got to start shuffling whenever your opponent has priority.
Now make sure you ask permission first. Lingering Souls. Lingering versus Lingering.
Both players taking the initiative and just moving the game ahead.
Attack, block, board clear.
These are two players who realize the gravity of the situation they're in.
I mean, they're playing right now for a fairly large cash prize.
Absolutely. A slot, a guaranteed slot in the top 8 of the SCG Open here.
Memoricide, which is going to hit here, naming probably Sun Titan. There it is, Sun Titans Be Gone. Kevin Russell's deck, basically if this was Two-Headed Giant, I would say he just chopped off one of the heads.
Absolutely. This is definitely the main thing Kevin's deck does. It also makes the images into really, really bad cards.
I mean, this is a cutoff head, for reals. Like, Lingering Souls to win. Now, look, Kevin is shuffling a little bit slower.
Not so much sense of urgency anymore, is there, huh?
His path right now is going to involve dropping that Gideon Jura and just going for it, I think.
Just let it ride.
Does he have the mana to make it happen? Gideon Jura plus
Yes,
2,
does.
there it is. Now that means that there's 8 damage that's available. Kevin at 18 right now.
So at this point...
Sorry, Joe at 18 right now.
Joe,
oh boy,
wow,
says
Joe
go.
stumbles a little bit. I mean, Kevin's got a clock that can kill really pretty quickly.
And only 2 does not bring in Gideon.
Doesn't want to risk the Doomblade. And you know what? That's okay.
It's acceptable. Lingering Souls to keep it going.
Absolutely.
I mean, there is he's got stuff to think about, to be fair. Lingering Souls. That works. Go. And here we go, think twice.
And he decides not to commit the flashback Lingering Souls because he wants to be able to actually do something to follow up in the event that Joe runs a sweeper here.
And then we got maybe Gideon to kill Gideon, perhaps.
And it looks like he made the right call by not attacking because Joe's holding that go for the throat.
And Lingering Souls, instead, to just stem the attack of all these ghosts. Spirits, if you prefer.
4 Lingering Souls tokens versus 2 Lingering Souls tokens, but the 4 are armed with Gideon on their side. Kevin, main phase, is that an alchemy?
There we go, that is.
Moving at a rapid pace once again. What's he looking for? Probably anything that progresses the game. I mean, he's out of Sun. He has no Sun Titan anymore.
I think at this point he's looking for 1 Karn, and he's looking for more Lingering Souls.
Right, because he just needs to be on the beatdown. He's got an advantage. He's got to press it. He's only got like 6 minutes, but that's plenty of time from this position. Joe, on the other hand, looks like he's
4 minutes remain at
4
this
minutes.
minute.
Joe is playing the control game, and there's not going to be a lot of time to take control. But Joe can win in a hurry if he can actually get.
There we go. Gideon attacks. I think we're going to see the Doomblade make it go for the throat to kill the Gideon.
Yep, this is a little bit of a greedy attack, I think. Definitely a greedy attack.
And then he's got the
4
block.
minutes.
Now the clock is down to 2 power clock, and Kevin recasts from the graveyard Lingering Souls to replace those 2 dead ghosts. Dead ghosts. That's a weird thought. Terminus in Joe's hand. Why not cast it? There we go.
It's wow. All right.
I mean, there are no Sun Titans to worry about.
Man, it was real tough attacking with Gideon there. I mean, sometimes you got to just go with it, but
And the Joe in his hand does have a Gideon.
he does have alchemy, so he's digging pretty fast for that Karn. But the problem is that without Sun Titans, it's going to be hard to deal 16 in a hurry.
Well, one of the ways he can go about doing that is resetting the game.
That's true. That's true. Lingering Souls, though. Is he going to
boy.
name Lingering Souls?
Let me
Probably
see.
is, right?
He might name Karn.
I
mean, he probably names Lingering Souls, but we'll see.
he did name
He
Karn.
names
You're
Karn.
right. Good call.
Only 1 Karn in the deck. And now Kevin
Down
in
to
a
1
position.
Gideon and 2 Lingering Souls.
Oh,
It's not a lot of victory conditions, but Joe doesn't have an offense
Joe has
yet.
to win. He can't just sit here. Unless his opponent is really kind and Joe says, "Come on, man, I would have been able to get you." Well,
3.5 minutes. 3 minutes. And even when Joe has control of the game, it's going to take him every bit of like 4 turns to actually finish. He doesn't do 20 damage in 1 turn.
Ratchet Bomb. Wow, that is actually a real thing right now.
Absolutely.
Now,
I mean, I've seen a lot of things that are not real as a person who knows Gerard Fabiano.
Sorin down, makes a vampire, a come to play tap land, also joining the table, and Joe says go.
Now, the Sorin is not actually the worst, but the Ratchet Bomb really complicates the ability for it to win in time.
Another look-see
There's
with
Gideon.
the Ponder. We see the Lingering Souls from Kevin Russell.
Down to the wire. This match being played in real time.
Day of Judgment in Joe's hand. And Gideon. There's a Doomblade that Joe can use whenever that Gideon starts trying to go for it.
Creatures attack Gideon, that's what they do.
In for 1 at Gideon. Make another vampire. Lay nothing. I just don't play too slow here,
Liliana.
Joe.
Question is, does each player discard? Is that what's happening here?
I don't know that I would if I were Joe.
Is it literally just ship and do nothing?
He just put it down.
Yep, Liliana do nothing. He's going to have to put loyalty counters on it eventually.
And I think one thing to think about if you're Joe is not Doomblading unless the Ratchet Bomb goes. I was going to say you could potentially chump block.
Nope.
And nope, now you're forced to.
At this point, Kevin's got very little.
We're going to see a Ponder from Kevin probably. Lingering Souls.
There you go. That's one of his 2 Lingering Souls. He's only got 1 more in the deck.
And think twice, end of turn from Joe Knizacky. Time probably at the minute mark now. I see a Consecrated Sphinx. 30 seconds.
Consecrated Sphinx can win in a hurry,
Day.
but he's going to have to go. Make another token.
Token, say go. Sphinx and
Ship the
Forbidden
turn.
Alchemy.
You better ship the turn quick.
With less discard. He discards Sphinx, maybe?
And that's time.
No, we're down to 10 seconds.
You better pass the turn. He does. Can Kevin pass the turn before the clock expires?
Swamp go.
And that's time in the round. I don't see this game ending.
O-Ring on Sorin. Can you kill in 3 turns from now? Is it even possible?
He's playing so fast, it seems like the judges haven't stopped him.
Boy.
Sphinx.
I think that Kevin might have just scooped.
Wow. It looks like, can we get confirmation? It looks like Kevin conceded. He knew he was beat. He didn't have any more victory conditions in his deck beyond 1 Lingering Souls, which obviously doesn't win from that position. Besides, rather than sink both of them.
Yeah, he says, you had this game if the game were to be played out.